Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, family. How are you? I am appearing to you live from the great state of Michigan. So, all you Michigan people, I hope you're tuning in. This is a 6 o'clock show for you. For everybody else, is according to your time zone. My name is Preacher Moss. I'm the host of the SOS, in case you didn't know that. But let me tell you this, brothers and sisters, that this program, brothers and sisters, is going to be dedicated to all the people who've been following us a little bit, following us all the time, because I thought this would be a great show to kind of begin the process of where we're going to be probably heading into 2020, which is beginning to talk about not just the political process that affects all of us, but really this whole idea of democracy. What does democracy mean for those people who, in many cases, have been denied democracy, have been, in some cases, denied equity? Well, I've taken it upon myself, and I'm sure that some of the guests we're going to have on are going to take it upon themselves to talk about how you can democratize some of your choices in terms of your finances, in terms of your politics, in terms of your local politics, in terms of all kind of things that I want to say affect quality of life. Now, I myself, as a comedian, as an entertainer, as an educator, I've always been interested in producing content or producing information that helps increase the quality of life around me and the people who are around me. This is not something that I've taken on myself. I have learned this from great people who are much smarter than I am, much more dedicated than I am, much more disciplined than I am. However, we do have what is a bit of a deficit. We have a leadership deficit, brothers and sisters, and that leadership deficit has led us to where we are right now. If you look at the title says, "Why are white folks so afraid of Trump?" Let me say it again. Why are white folks so afraid of Trump? One of the reasons white folks are afraid of Trump is because they found out what black people have known for a long time, that America is not run by a majority, a dominant majority. It's not run by a dominant majority. It's run by a dominant minority. And when I say a dominant minority, brothers and sisters, what I'm stating is the fact that fewer and fewer people are making decisions about more and more people. The autocrats, you say Democrats, Republicans, the oligarchs, the wealthy have gotten to a place where they've become extremely comfortable deciding policies that affect people that they don't even engage with, that they don't even interact with. So today, we take something that's basically on everybody's mind. It's in the back of everybody's mind, which is Donald Trump, a man who lost an election last year, but has been extremely successful in promoting what they call the big lie. But I told you what the big lie was a couple shows ago when I talked about then Mayor Bloomberg, which was the idea, brothers and sisters, that business decisions were made on our behalf, but somehow those same business decisions have come to blow up in our face, have become retroactive and endemically, importantly, and toxically, things that have stymied our own growth and our own mobility. So I'm going to lead the show today with something that you should be paying attention to. That is the gubernatorial election in Virginia. Virginia has been predictably a blue state for the last couple of years. A governor, senators, and things like that. Now Democrats find themselves in trouble. The margins are extremely thin, and they are worried openly and in private about losing the election in Virginia. You may not have a Democratic governor, and that may lead over to not having a Democratic senator. Why am I saying this? Because I believe, brothers and sisters, if we start having a conversation now, we can blunt some of that. And I don't mean just at the polling places. I'm talking about having a systemic program where we can talk about these things in mass, in public, in the public domain, and in some regards, delegitimize some of the things that people are trying to do against us. We have to talk about voting rights here in 2020, 2021. And why are we talking about voting rights? Why are we at the point where, brothers and sisters, over 19 states following this last election they instituted policies to make sure that voting was going to be darn near impossible for a lot of people heading into 2022. And yet we're still talking about it. We're not protesting about it. We're not legislating about it. We're not up in arms about it. like we were with George Floyd. We weren't emotional about it, brothers and sisters. We are, in many regards, and I'm going to put this on a lot of white Americans, that you're scared. I'm going to tell you why white folks are afraid of Trump and why you should be concerned when we come back. This is Preacher Moss, the SOS Shout Out Show. Let's get it rolling. Ah, there you are. I know you're looking at your screen going, that's a good looking black man. And you're right. I'm Preacher Moss, and you're not. Today I want to talk about Olive Branch Muslim Family Services, better known as the people who help people. And I need you to help the people who help people so they can continue to, you guess it, help people. Get it? Got it? Good. Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Action you can see, compassion you can feel. Graphic now. All right, welcome back. I want to welcome you back to the SOS Shout Out Show. Before we get started on our subject matter, I want to make sure we welcome anybody that's new on the show to the Shout Out Show. We want to give you a shout out. We also want to make sure that we recognize our soldiers, our Shout Out Show soldiers, our Shout Out Show family. We want to make sure that they're coming forth and being recognized. Let's go ahead and do that before we get into the topic. Satana, who do we have today? We got Sister Ree, all the way from Houston, Texas. How you doing, Sister Ree? Glad to see you on the show. As always, we pray and hope that you and your family are doing well. We pray that you are in the best of health, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And make sure you shout out to that young man, Jawad, that said hello, as well as to your husband, Derek. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Next up, we got my main man, Altaf Rashid, better known as Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, always on the shout out show, always ready to contribute to the show. Altaf, my main man, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'd love to get your take. I haven't really talked to people, a lot of people in Canada, about what they really think about Trump and what happened down here with the election. I would gladly welcome your observations and your comments if you feel like giving us some. But aside from that, brothers and sisters, he is the official ambassador to the Shout Out Show. He's our Canadian ambassador. Make sure the quality of the show is good on this side of the border and the other side of the border. Thank you so much. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Next up, we got Sister Ika. Sister Ika, back on the show. Nice to see you again, Sister Ika. Thank you so much. Following the show, she's coming all the way from Depok, Indonesia, brothers and sisters. And inshallah, I am blessed, Sister Ika, and pray that you and your family are blessed too. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. We appreciate you, Sister Ika. Next up, Bilal Salahuddin. What's going on, brother? Our newest member to the Shout Out Show family. Bilal, thank you so much for coming on. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. Appreciate you coming on the show. Hope you got some comments for our topic today. This was a hot one. Next up, we got my brother, Johnny L. Thomas, better known as JT to me, not to you, but better known as JT to me, brothers and sisters. Giving a shout out to myself and Sister Satana. And make sure you give Sister Satana your duas and well wishes, brothers and sisters. She's a little bit under the weather. So, she's toughing it out, trying to make sure this thing works out. We appreciate you, Sister Satana. And, of course, our consultant producer, she puts it, got to recognize, got to get a drummer some. Sister Satana, our consultant producer, though she is not feeling well, has come on the show to add her flavor and make sure that the production looks well. Thank you so much, Sister Satana. Why are white folks so afraid of Trump? The first headline I saw this morning was about the gubernatorial race with Terry McAuliffe in Virginia. Now, normally Terry McAuliffe will be a very, very strong candidate. He won handily the last election. That corridor, Northern Virginia, usually delivers a lot of Democratic votes, and they win, basis the rural votes in Virginia. But there's a problem in Virginia right now. Democrats are scared, brothers and sisters, and this is why they're scared. They're scared that they may lose this race or it may be terribly close, and this is the reason why. Because they're looking back going, they are worried that they have not engaged enough blacks. Let me say it again. The Democrats are worried about in Virginia, they have not engaged enough blacks. Why is that significant, brothers and sisters? It's significant because white folks are afraid of Trump. And let me break this down for you. Not engaging with blacks is not necessarily getting the black vote. Let's be very clear. It's not so much about getting the black vote. It's about getting blacks educated about your platforms. You see, for too long, brothers and sisters, the black vote was kind of a given. That we just give our vote to people. That, somehow the alliances that they have in the 50s, not in the 50s, but the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, somehow belie us just giving our votes away. And here's the other fact. They haven't engaged blacks this way. The facts that more and more black people as a voting electorate have less and less to do with the electoral process. We're skeptical. We do vote, but we're skeptical. You see, what we had with Trump, brothers and sisters, through this facade of a presidency, if you want, is we watched the breakdown of democracy for white people. For white people. And we watched the bully people that looked like him. He couldn't get the black folk. And it's strategic. Why bully black folk? We already got them bullied through the laws, brothers and sisters. Hint, hint, critical race theory. But you bully the people who think they're safe. See, one thing you always say about black people, Latinos, and oppressed people in the United States, we never think we're safe. But white folk thought they were safe. And now you had somebody who came down the line, brothers and sisters, and let them know, not only are you not safe, but you could be targeted if you don't look to me to give you that safety. In that space, brothers and sisters, you've created an environment of people who are absolutely unsure about the drivel they've been telling us for years, about democracy is for everybody, about this country is land of the free and the equal. Now you're finding out in a situation being bullied that it ain't that way. That Donald Trump didn't jump over all these white people to get at black people and Latinos. And even when he got to black people and Latinos, it was weird because he had a general weirdness where it's like, at least we know who he is. But with white people, we told you who he was. He told you who he was. And you didn't believe him because we felt like once he becomes president, or you felt like once he becomes president and he shrouds himself with the American flag, he's going to do right. But then, hell, you're dumb. He didn't do right. He did what he wanted to do. And just like the mob, brothers and sisters, just like the mob, nobody likes a rat. In white America, nobody likes a rat. In corporate America, nobody likes a rat. And in white privilege, nobody likes a rat. Nobody wants to say white privilege is built upon the fact that you have to actively engage with blacks and Latinos and the poor to oppress them. Not only that, but you have to create a facade whereby they learn helplessness. They learn helplessness and hopelessness to the fact that they don't believe in their own agency. Well, guess what? Now it's happening to white America. You now have politicians who voted against Trump or voted for Trump to be impeached and somehow stood up and got up and said the right things about Trump when he was doing wrong. They are now en masse not even willing to run for re-election because they feel like he's going to put somebody against him, put somebody against him. These are Republicans against Republicans. that he's going to put somebody against them, brothers and sisters, who's going to run against them, and they're going to lose their seats. They don't have the courage or fortitude to even remember that you serve the people. That you serve the people. They don't even have confidence in their constituency to re-elect them. You've served them for 4 years or 6 years, and someone new is going to come along who has no relationship with the people, and somehow they're going to have a bigger case than you. That's why white folks are scared of Trump. Now, here's the other thing about Trump. Whether you agree or not, he's not a good bully, brothers and sisters. Trump is not a good bully. If he would have walked in this telecast, brothers and sisters, I look him up and down, just like many of you, if you saw him on the street. You know that guy, even when he was young, he could not crush a grape with a sledgehammer. He could not crush a grape with a sledgehammer. However, if you give him the environment where he feels he's protected and he's empowered, he's damn near unstoppable. And he understood the psyche of the American people. Now, this is going to hurt for a lot of folks that may see this later and may see it now. He understood the psyche of the American people. We're suckers for a second chance. We're suckers for a comeback. We love giving a comeback. But Donald Trump has had several comebacks. The art of the deal, why would you take advice from a man that's defaulted and had bankruptcy all over the place? You know why? Because we like the fact that he kept on coming. He ruined companies. He ruined Atlantic City, but he just kept on coming. He kept on talking. He talked himself into existence in the mind of a lot of people, and they began to believe that if he could fail and rise from the ashes like a phoenix, so could I. However, he didn't rise from the ashes of a phoenix. That would require suffering. He let other people do the suffering. And now white America stands on the precipice where they are afraid to say the leader of this country or the potential leader of this country or the past leader of this country not only deceived us, but he defiled democracy on a regular basis. He trashed the Constitution on a regular basis. And even in that space, brothers and sisters, even in that space, people held out. You think I'm lying? Whatever happened to the religious right or the moral right? Did no way. Wait, did you hear? Calling the moral right. Did you hear? I didn't hear them because they're gone. The people, brothers and sisters, who would sit and argue against things about abortion and the death penalty and all of those things, watch this man run amok. And the GOP is gone. I've never seen a party have absolutely no backbone because of one guy. And they believe, brothers and sisters, that he can summon the powers of the United States against them. And they believe that. They believe it. You know, a lot of times people go, well, you know, he wasn't that bad. Yeah, he was a horrible president. Now, if you got money and you want to make money, he was a good president for you. But even in that space, brothers and sisters, he bent the rules. He bent the rules. He willingly raided the coffers to make sure that his buddies got money. Stimulus package, things like that, stimulus money, PPP, all that type of stuff. All of these people got to pick what they wanted before they got it to the rest of the folks. I'll give him some credit in some regards. He got it to the rest of the folks. Is it enough? Time will tell. I say no. But if we stand here right now, brothers and sisters, the scope of it is there's a very good chance in 2022 into 2024 that we're going to grow the legend of the bully. Some people don't understand that being a bully has nothing to do with politics. Nothing to do with politics. It has to do with psychology. And that's where a lot of white folks make the mistake. This is not political activism. This is psychological warfare. You see, on the Shout Out Show, we come up with marketing in production, to promote products, our own show, to do marketing and things like that. We have other pursuits where we talk to people strategically about what is it going to engage folk. This man has done a very good job of making people fearful of doing the right thing. Fearful. Now, can I sit here and say he did all on his own? No. He peeled back something in American culture. He peeled back something in American narrative, and he understood something very clearly. And this might hurt some folk, but here it is. He understands when I peel back something, America is not pure. America isn't pure. He just subsumed, if you will, the character, the fact that America is a bully and has been a bully. And the only thing that could tear down America, I like to say American exceptionalism, was, guess what, brothers and sisters? The economy. See, it's like a poker game. When you get into a poker game, they say it costs $100 to get in. If you don't have $100 to get in, you can't get in the poker game. He didn't have $100. But he had understanding, brothers and sisters. Hold on a minute. Let me fix that. Okay. But he had a little bit of an understanding that people live with this particular type of fragility, fragile. And that speaks to a lot of the mentality of the people that he deals with. You can't really be oppressed in this country and just be fragile. Things and difficulties may be thrust upon you along with challenges that are the historical and have this particular type of imperative. But you look at a line of secession that says, however bad it is, I'm still here. White America doesn't have that. White America is extremely fragile. And they live in fear of secrets being revealed. Let me say it again. White America is fragile, and they live in extreme fear of secrets being revealed. That people are going to say, wait a minute, you didn't get it the way you want to get it. The whole argument about historical narrative these days in textbooks is the fact that they're trying to tell you that, hey, we got it this way, and you should have gotten it this way. We're not talking about issues of oppression. We're not talking issues of discrimination, institutional, foundational injustice. We're talking about people lying to cover up what's happened. And the best way you can do that in this situation, brothers and sisters, is that you heighten the pie. You dramatically raise the stakes. And you tell those people who are in fear, listen, fear for people. If you don't want people to find out about you, or worse, you don't want people to find out that you are just like me, fall in line. And people continue to fall in line. See, the race that people are talking about is not a political race. It's not even a racial race. It is a deconstruction of the human race. And in that space, brothers and sisters, we're going to have to draw the line. Hear me now. You're going to have to draw your line in the sand. Because these people, particularly the white people who fear Donald Trump, will find themselves on our side of the line, knowing that they're not fighters. Ooh, did I hurt somebody's feelings? Yeah. You'll get the Karens, and the Karens, and everybody who protests for George Floyd, but you wouldn't protest against this man in office. Brothers and sisters, we got a problem. We have a problem. I'm going to encourage that we close our ranks, that we do check up from the neck ups, and we just can't take everybody in. Because I'm going to tell you something else. We cannot continue, brothers and sisters, to throw out mercy and compassion just for people who know we're going to do it to take advantage of our mercy and compassion. You know, the interesting thing about a bully, brothers and sisters, is a bully is so psychotic, is such a sociopath, that they will continue to keep doing deceptive things, destructive things to you under the impression that they're doing you a favor. Worst of all, they know that you want to forgive them. And the whole time that you're trying to forgive them, they just keep ramming it down your throat. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, hoping one or two things happen. Hoping that at the end, you're too weak, too feeble to fight back, or better yet, you look at this oppression like Patty Hearst. You look at this oppression as something that's normal. And they look at it as, I'm doing you a favor. In our own history, brothers and sisters, the whole idea of slavery was about what? The white man doing God's work, enslaving the black man, enslaving people of color all over the world. Christianity was not that religion, brothers and sisters. It was not something that was willing. I took my shahada to be a Christian. Shahada to be a Muslim. What were slaves accepting to be Christian? The whip, the brutality. Don't get me wrong, black church and black spirituality, two totally different things. But I'm talking about the imposition of a man saying he's God, which to me is the most despicable thing that you can actually do, but they do it. And creating all these levels, brothers and sisters, by which you have to get status is scary. Now, all these levels that used to be for the blacks and the Latinos and women and the poor, now it's in white communities. Now you have to prove your whiteness. You got to prove your loyalty. And let me throw this out to my black brothers and sisters talking with the signs, blacks for Trump. Let me give you a little thing, a little thing to think about, because this is white folk. You're going to have to deal with this too. You see, you have black people, blacks for Trumps. Some of them are legitimate. They have the political understanding. Some are just bandwagon folk. But I'm going to tell y'all something about Master. Just because you get up on the Master doesn't mean that the whip can't reach you. It's just a shorter whip. For people like myself and a bunch of other folks, that whip is long. So when it snaps on the back, it's meant to cause pain, mayhem, and change decisions. So I would ask this, brothers and sisters, to white people who may never see the show, but black people, when you see white people, think. Look at that person and say, are you willing to stand up, not for my rights, but for your own rights? The problem in Virginia is not only white folks afraid of Trump, they're afraid of a white legacy that they don't want to talk about it. You see, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to speak on it. They don't want to be rats. Nobody likes a rat. I said that at the beginning of the show. I stand by it. But my point here, as I begin to wrap up, is at some point in time, it comes to a head. At some point in time, it comes to a head. Now, I'm not saying that white supremacy is going to collapse, but I'm going to say it's definitely going to have some different identifiers moving forward. And I want to encourage all of us, brothers and sisters, to pay close attention to what the identifiers are going to be. Number one, I think it's going to have to do a lot more with economics. A lot more with economics. The ability to have financial mobility moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be extremely difficult. The jobs that are here are not only going to be the jobs that lock you in, they're going to be the jobs that lock you up. Not allowing you to do things like investment, be entrepreneurs, build schools, build churches, build dreams, colleges. These are the things that are on the precipice right now that we have to look at, brothers and sisters. Not 4 years from 2 years from now or 2024. No. Have the discussion now. If you're not going to have it with white America, have it amongst yourselves. Rehearse the argument with yourselves. So when we get to 2022 in the midterms and we get to 2024, we don't have to worry about the Democrats are worried that they haven't engaged black voters or Latino voters. It'll be the fact that we have developed our own political consciousness moving forward. And I tell you what, that political consciousness will be a lot stronger than white folks who are afraid of Trump. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to let it go. It'll be so stronger than white folks that are afraid of Trump that the white folks that are afraid of Trump will get behind us. And we'll drive the bus. All right. I'm done. Satana, let's go ahead and bring in our people. What we got? Alto says, here in Canada, we're feeling for you guys. We were feeling for you guys for 4 years. In our province, we have a leader not too far from former president. I've been reading about him. It's contagion. You had Duarte over in the Philippines. You got a whole lot of stuff. Thank you, Alto. Appreciate you. Anybody else? I think Alto might have been our main guy, but I appreciate you, Alto. So listen, that's my show for today. For myself and Satana, the shout out show. Let's go ahead and get to some sponsors, and then we're going to roll out. Want everybody to check out www.befinancialindependent.com. Again, that's www.befinancialindependent.com. You can call 1-888-496-6845. Again, that's 1-888-496-6845. Check them out. All right. Next up, we also have Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Bayan Islamic Graduate School. If you are interested in getting a quality master's or doctorate level program in the aspects of Islamic studies, Islamic leadership, Masters of Divinity for Muslim chaplaincy, this is the place to do it. Go to banonline.org. Again, that's banonline.org. Listen, I'm Preacher Moss. Like I said, on behalf of Sister Satana, I hope you feel better. This is a shout out show. We will see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, team, we've come to the end of yet another show. And I have to say, I had a good time, and I hope that you had a good time as well. Listen, at this part of the show, we have no more show. I could literally sing a song saying we have no more show. However, to spare all of us that embarrassment and chaos, I'm just going to say, please join us tomorrow here on the Shout Out Show, Monday through Thursdays, and every first Saturday, we do our Saturday Spotlight. Here we are again, 5 to 5:30 on the Central Time. And of course, we're going to do our rebroadcast at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock p.m. And of course, that would be 6 o'clock on the West Coast. So, time for you to go, because it's time for me to go. I think I will do that song. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. That's all the lyrics I wrote. But you get the idea. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.